Good morning, welcome to Lone Jack Living. This is Andy, and thanks for joining me today as we do a video on making your homemade elderberry syrup. Now for today's purposes, I have gathered some organic ginger root, some organic cinnamon bark, some organic dried elderberries, and some locally sourced organic pure honey. In addition, I've got some ground cloves and an essential oil right here. Now, as we move through this process, I'm going to let you know that I've never made this before. So we will see what it's like for all you beginners out there just like me to see how I go about it. Now, for my recipe, I'm going to be utilizing the Wellness Mama recipe. So stand by. I'm going to get my ingredients measured out and then we'll continue. So one of the first steps we have to do is grate our ginger, but in order to do that, we have to cut the ginger into pieces that we can use to grate and also remove the skin. Now, from what I've been told, there's many different ways to do that, but you don't want to waste the ginger. And so one of the videos I found said you should really just use your spoon to grate the ginger. So it comes between these guys. This one feels more comfortable to try to grate. So I'm going to try this method and see if they're right. Okay, I grabbed a spoon. Oh, yeah, that does actually remove pretty easily. Oh my goodness. Well, winner on those ones. I've had ginger in like food, I think, and I've smelled ginger and essential oils, but I've never actually held a ginger root, so this is all news to me. With only potatoes peeled this easily, this is pretty awesome. It takes a little bit of manpower, but not much. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then I'll text right back with you. Okay, I have finished peeling my ginger with the spoon. As you can see, it looks pretty good. Some things to note as a beginner. I have a hangnail on my thumb and it really kind of burns a little bit. Also, when you peel, it kind of reminds me of an orange, like little juices will fly up, and one of them did kind of get me in the eye. So note to self, don't let the juices get you. Now I'm going to go ahead and try to proceed to do this like they said and start grating. Our goal here is to grate 2 tablespoons worth of ginger. And I'm using the small little holes on this little cheese grater here. I would say it grates kind of how I thought it would. Not super easy, like a cheese, but not hard. That's a lot better. I will look up later to confirm, but I heard that once you've done this, you can also store the ginger so you don't waste the things you don't need for this part of the recipe. Okay, well, stay tuned. Okay, it's time to start to mix our ingredients. First thing I've done is I've gone ahead and poured in 3.5 cups of water. Then I've got 2/3 cup of black elderberries. Now these are dried, so I'm going to go ahead and pour these into the water. I'm also going to be adding my ginger, cinnamon, and cloves. Now for my ginger, you already saw this. I just put it in one big thing. This is 2 tablespoons grated of ginger. And I'm also going to be adding 1/2 teaspoon of ground cloves. And a teaspoon of cinnamon. Now it says to bring to a boil. So let's get that started. Bring to a boil and then cover and reduce to a simmer for about 45 minutes to an hour. So we're going to get this started. Okay, we just got this moving over to a boil, and now I've moved it down to a simmer, as you can see. It says to leave it simmer for 45 minutes to an hour, and let me tell you, it smells amazing. Now, while it's doing its simmering job, I thought I'd let you know that there is a great article on the Pharmacy Times, which is a magazine publication that my husband, who's also a pharmacist, he reads. And I will include the link down here at the bottom for all you unbelievers. But it's a great article talking about the efficacy of elderberry syrup in combating the flu. It talks about a randomized double-blind placebo-controlled study where they gave one group a placebo syrup and another group an elderberry syrup. And the patients who took the elderberry syrup were less than 48 hours on their flu-like symptoms compared to the other one, which was 4 days later. And another research study done in this same report here, they had a double-blind study by an Israeli virologist, and 93.3% of people taking the elderberry syrup reported significant influenza symptom reduction within 2 days of starting it, compared to 6 days for people who took the placebo. So that's just a little bit of information about how helpful and important this elderberry syrup is for everybody. All right, guys, stay tuned and we'll come back in just a bit. Hey, everybody, it looks like our recipe has been cooled to the touch. And the next step in the recipe calls us to mash the berries carefully using a spoon or other flat utensil. So I just have a little wooden spoon. I'm going to slowly kind of mash them a little bit. I kind of feel like it's that episode of I Love Lucy where she's stomping the grapes. They mush pretty easily. I did give it a little taste test with my finger. It tastes really nice so far. I do think that the addition of honey afterwards will definitely make it a little bit more palatable. So right now, I'm going to take a couple minutes and I'm going to mash these berries. Okay, we are pretty mashed up, and so now I'm going to do the next step on here, and that is going to be to get my elderberry strained. So I've got my cheesecloth, and I'm going to lay it over here, and I'm going to cut just a little strip of it off, just enough to strain it through. All right, put my excess to the side. Now I'm going to gently pour this into my Pyrex dish through the strainer. Hopefully. Ooh, well, it's pretty heavy, that's for sure. The weight of the elderberries, I really should like tie something around this, but instead I don't have the option. So I'm gonna just try to hold it down on the sides. Maybe. Okay, here's what we're gonna do instead. We're gonna pour it in here a little bit. Then I'm gonna lift it up. Now, just a quick reminder, elderberries are a berry, and just like any other berries or herbs, we have to remember to always check with your medical professional or pharmacist, because any herb or berry could have a potential interaction with any medication you're on. So always make sure to double check for any other interactions. And again, if you've never taken it, it's always good to test for allergies, so just try a small bit. Make sure there's nothing alarming that results from it. Here's going to pour that in there. There we go. Grab my spoon, get the rest of that out. And now I'm going to squeeze it and strain it. And I have decided, because I hate to see all these elderberries go to waste, I decided I'm going to try to use that remaining cheesecloth that I have over there and fashion my own tea bag, like a loose leaf tea bag. And then I'm going to use this extra elderberries after they're drained, and I'm going to make an elderberry tea. Obviously, it won't be as concentrated or potent as this recipe right here, this part would be, but I think it might be worth trying. I love tea, and for those of you who aren't like tea drinkers, you'll be able to add the honey to the tea after you warm up the water and the berries, so it might taste all right. It probably won't taste much different than this, so I think it's worth pursuing. Man, I'm just squeezing, and you guys can see, like, it's just more and more and more coming out. I'm really curious how many ounces I'm going to make from this batch. And the most reason why I want to know is because I want to see if it was cost prohibitive or not. I know when I looked online, you can buy pre-made elderberry kits online and then just cook them. But the ones I found were anywhere from $12 to $18. And that only made like 8 ounces. And that just didn't seem like very much for the price. And I know that they're doing it and they're making a business and they're everything else, but I just thought it was a little expensive. Washing off my hands. All right, so let's see. Looks like we have just about 2 cups, so that's 16 ounces. Wow, we're gonna do good. Next stop, put in our container. All right, everything is poured in, and it's time to add our honey. So we've got our cup of honey from earlier, as you might recall. Just gonna scoop this out, mix this up. I love honey. And I always choose a locally sourced organic raw honey. There's lots of good ones. If you go to your local farmer's market, or even most of your grocery stores should carry some local honey. Always support your local farmers and local produce. Okay, got that honey in there. I start to stir it up. Before it was pretty liquid, obviously, and I'm thinking this honey's gonna thicken it up a little bit. I was also informed that at this stage, if you wanted to, you could add a little bit of essential oils. So I'm just gonna add a couple drops of lemon. 1, 2, 3, 4, perfect. I thought that might brighten it up a little bit because lemon has such a bright citrusy flavor, and adding that with the honey and the warm, rich berries together, I think it's gonna make a really lovely concoction. Okay, whenever I'm done stirring this up, I will check back. Okay, here you go, the finished product. Coming in about 16 ounces. Don't forget you keep this in the refrigerator and it'll last about 3 months. Now, from what I've been told, after that 3-month period, if you want to go ahead and pour it into some ice cube molds and freeze it, and then take it out throughout the year as you need it, I'm going to try that as well. Now, as far as dosing goes, not a medical expert, have no idea. All I know is that I've been told everybody has their own dosing that they can do. Start low and go slow. So try a teaspoon and work your way up if you need more or less, because it can have diuretic properties. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to my video. First time ever making it. I'm just a real person with making real videos of real failures. I hope you guys enjoy yours as much as I will with mine. Thanks, guys.